Hey everyone, it's Tracy Martirana here from Holistic Wellness with Tracy, and today I'm inviting you to join me while I cook a simple North African egg dish called shakshuka. Shakshuka is essentially eggs poached in this sort of flavorful, slightly spicy tomato stew. It originates in North Africa and has flavors of like cumin and garlic and paprika. But just like a lot of my other favorite recipes, you can change this up and do whatever you want. So I start with making the stew. Simply onion, some bell pepper. I like to use usually half to a full onion and a full bell pepper. I happen to have 2 half bell peppers, so that's what I used. And then I'm also adding in some zucchini, which is not a standard ingredient. It's one of my variations. I like to add it in because I feel like it just adds an extra little bit of veggies into this dish, making it super healthy. So I'm just getting that started in some olive oil, adding some salt and pepper, and I'm gonna let these veggies just cook down and get nice and soft. In the meantime, I will tell you that if you want more information on different ways you can vary this recipe and different ways you can use some of this leftover stew when all is said and done, visit my website. I have a blog on this. I will put the link down in the description box. Check it out. There's lots of information there, including the recipe that I'm following today. I want to add some garlic. My recipe calls for about 3 cloves, so that means I like to add 4. And then that was just going to leave 1 lonely clove left in my bulb of garlic, so I decided 5 was probably a good idea. And it tasted great, so whether you use 3, 5, 7, it'll be yummy. I'm just going to stir the garlic in so that it can cook a little bit without burning while I start adding in some spices. I have cumin. I started with about a teaspoon, and then as soon as I added it in, I thought, you know what, I really like cumin. I'm going to add another half a teaspoon. So it was about 1.5 teaspoons. And then I'm adding paprika, about a teaspoon of that. My original recipe, I think that I had found for this actually calls for harissa, which I used to have in my spice rack. I must have used it all. So now instead of harissa, I just use regular paprika and smoked paprika. One of these days, maybe I'll buy more harissa. We'll see. And then I like a little spice, so I'm adding some red pepper flakes. I added probably close to a teaspoon, and it really didn't feel like this was spicy. It could have used more, or I could have used maybe even some spicy peppers in with my bell peppers. And then I'm just adding in a can of diced tomatoes. Now, if you don't like really chunky tomatoes, then you can go ahead and use tomato sauce, or you could dice it yourself maybe so that you get a little bit smaller bite. As this cooks, I actually sort of used my tool, my little wooden spoon here, to break up a few of the bigger pieces. But I'm just letting that all cook together while I chop up some spinach. So you can see how everything is coming together and looking very stew-like now. I'm adding in a good somewhere between 1 cup and 2 cups, as much as you have, as much as you want. I put the cover on it and let it wilt a little bit. And then once it's wilted, I just stir that all in, getting it nice and worked through. And then once everything is looking good, it's cooked down, everything is looking yummy, it's smelling yummy, I'm going to add the eggs. Now, just a quick thing to note is the first few times I tried making this, I completely overcooked the eggs because they just don't look like they're really done. So I would think, oh, they still look pretty runny. And then I would go to scoop them out and I'm like, oh no, they're really just balls of rubber now. So it really only takes probably about 5 minutes for the eggs to cook. It all depends on how well you like them done, but um, these, I think I did about 5 minutes and they were just barely a little bit runny. So they didn't goo all over my plate, but a little bit of yolk did ooze out. So I'm just scooping this up. I will use this leftover stew. I think I'm going to cook cod tomorrow night, and I'm just going to heat this back up in a pan and put a couple pieces of cod in here to simmer along with it. I think that'll be delicious. And then I like avocado on the side of mine. If I didn't have an avocado, I wouldn't make a special trip out to buy one just for this. But since I had one, I'm going to use it. I just think it tastes good, and I don't know, who just doesn't love avocado? If I had parsley, I would have also chopped some parsley to put over top, but unfortunately I did not. And then I'm adding a little bit of cheese. Again, I normally would have used feta here, but I had feta, and when I pulled it out, there was a big glob of mold growing in it. So shredded mozzarella it is, along with a little bit of toast. Yummy, delicious. If you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button, enjoy these other videos, and have a great day.